go ahead and go to create a class. Now, let me back up just a little bit because I want y'all to understand how we have this laid out. With the PDs that we're doing, we're trying to keep them to an hour. So Google Classroom really could be like a 3-hour training. And during that 3-hour training, we go in depth, everything that you learn that you want to learn about it. Now, if you're that person, I'm going to show you something, okay? If you open up a new tab, and it seems like we're always doing that, if you type in blogs.fcps.net, so one more time, blogs.fcps.net. If you forget anything that I'm saying today, email me. You know where I live, jerry.broyles@fayette.kyschools.us. You know where we live, Kelly Fisher, Jason, all these people that you've heard their names, you know where you live, just find us on email. So anyway, if you go to the blog, and then go right here where it says Teaching and Learning, this is our Fayette County Office of Instructional Technology blog. Go down here to Digital Classroom Resources site. And this takes you to those recordings that we had when we were all remote, okay? If you go here to Teacher Resources and go down to Google Classroom, all of those recordings are right here for you. There's beginner topics, intermediate topics, advanced topics. If I was going to tell you where this PD right here that you're sitting in on is going to take you, it's going to be the beginner stuff, okay? Now, if you want to dig in deep, that's the topics. But remember, we're holding this to an hour. So we're really just kind of focusing on what are the things that you need to know about so you can do okay if you want to try to get Google certified. We're not teaching to the test, but we're highlighting topics that are the ones that we feel that are basic that you really need to know. Okay, so you can go right here to plus and join a class or create a class. We're going to create one. All right, and so we're just going to name our class today. So today I'm going to name it, let's see, we'll name it, Mr. Bowles is fourth grade class. Now you can put in section and subject if you want, or a room number. Those are all optional. I think that fits for our maybe our middle school or our high school people a little bit more than elementary. So I'll just keep it at fourth grade right here. And click on create. And it takes a little bit of time. Seems like Google's running a little slow for some reason. All right, and so you've already created a class. It was that easy. That's how we did it. Now, there's a couple things that I want to orient you through, especially the interface on the front page and the gear settings. Those are our selections that we're going to set up in every class that we have. So if you're middle school, you may have 4 or 5 classes. If you're elementary, maybe you have 1 or 2. High school, it really depends what your schedule looks like. So first you have a picture here, and we can go to customize. We can click on that. And you can upload a photo. If we have time at the end, I'll show you a nice, cool place to get a really cool header. If we don't, then we'll just skip it. You can ask me later. But right here, you're going to select the theme. And this is really just the background that Google has for us for any of the things that we want for our students to see, because they will see this theme as a card. Remember all those cards that you saw at the very beginning that I was a part of? That's what they're called. I'm going to choose one that's math because I'm a little, preferential for math. So I'm going to choose this one right here. And by the way, you can choose others and so forth. There's a lot. So let's choose one. I'm going to try to keep this under an hour, okay? You can also go back and you can upload a photo. We'll go through that if we have time at the end. Now, over here, we have our Meet link. So remember, this is all Google platform stuff. Some of our teachers still use Meet. Most of them have been converted to Zoom. Over here is our class code. Now, if you wanted to join my Google Classroom, and you can try this out, you're more than welcome to do that. You can go right here, and this is the class code that the students would use to join the classroom. So remember, when we went back, we had the option of join a class or create a class. Students would just click on join a class, and then they would type this code in. And it's that easy to get them to join the class. You can also email them an invite link, and I can click on that and see it says link copied. And what that does, I'm just going to go up here and paste that. It takes me to where I can join the class. And that's an easy way for our kids, if you're using email with them, for them to join the class, okay? Other way is just join and then they type in the code. All right, now if we want to make that really big, we can go right here, full screen, and it's going to be huge inside your classroom, okay? So I'm click on that and close that out. Now over here, if I had some assignments coming up, that would show right here, but I just created a class, so I don't have any right now. Now I'm going to show you one more thing before I get into this announcement area. Over here, there's a cogwheel, and we'll click on that cogwheel. And this is where I can change things. If I didn't like the name of how I named the class, I could change it right here. I can add the subject and those other options that I have. But down here, it's really important to notice these. Right here, I have manage invite codes turned on. So that way students can be added to my class and they can join the class easily. That invite link is right here again. So if I want to copy it, again, you can go here to copy it. It was inside the cogwheel. Okay. Now, the stream, we'll talk about that in just a moment, is where you can turn off students posting and commenting. So let's go and do this. Let's go ahead and have you open up a new tab. Okay, and what I want you to do is I'm going to show you that classroom code. So what you'll do is this. Just go to classroom.google.com. I'll get you to join my classroom. So you'll just go to the plus sign. Thanks, Jason, for staying on top of things. You're going to click on join class. And right there, it's going to ask you for that classroom code. Okay. So now I'm going to switch over. Okay. So here we go. Here's my code. You're just going to type that in. And it's 5SHDKQN. And I also copied that link, and I'll put that in the chat if you want to join it that way. There's the link. You can click on the link. So you could do that during Zoom with your kids if you're remote. Just put it in the chat like we are. And I'll show that for a little bit longer. See if you got that. So 5SHDKQN. Okay. Now let's go up here to that cogwheel again. Okay. So on the cogwheel, I have it turned on so that students can post and comment. Now, this is what I'm thinking. So over here is the stream where I can post things. So I can say something like, I can just type in whatever I want. Be sure to study for the math quiz. Okay. Now, this is just making an announcement inside the stream. Remember, this is like our front page, our Facebook, where we have things that the kids are doing, updates, and so forth. I can bold things, I can italicize, I can use all of those formatting features. I can also add something for my Google Drive, which we'll do with the assignments. We're not going to do it for the announcements here. I can upload a file. I can link to something such as a website or another file that I have that's in my Google Drive. I can add a YouTube video. Okay, all those things, and then I can post it. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. All right, so now that I posted that, you may want to go, if you've joined my classroom, let's see if anybody joined. Oh yeah, all of you did. Y'all are amazing. I'm just amazing, you guys. That's awesome. So if you go to my classroom, you'll see this post. You may have to press the refresh button, which is up here in the top left-hand corner. But you should be able to see that post, and you can add a class comment because I have that turned on. Okay, so if you wanted to comment something, you just click inside there and hit that little arrow to post it. Now, why is that good for us? Why is that good for the kids? Well, it's great for the kids because they can answer their own questions. Like if somebody posted questions, one of the kids does, another kid can answer it. If they want to do some kind of research inside their classroom, they can do research and they can post links to different websites and all kinds of different stuff. Now, if your kids, Kelly, exactly what I'm thinking. I don't want to give the quiz because I'm going to have to grade it. All that grading. No, I'm not, because I'm going to use a Google form. That's right. Use a Google form, they'll grade it for you. So if your kids are not mature enough to do this, then turn it off or turn it off for specific kids. And we'll show you how to do that in just a moment. But notice when Kelly made a comment, her name is attached to that comment. So it's really easy to see who's making that post. If you have to have a special conversation with one child, that's great. Then you don't have to turn it off for everybody. Janine, it is not ready. Not yet. All right. So you get the idea. So over here, you just click on the gear, and that's where you can turn this on and off, is right here. Okay. You can also make it so only teachers can post or comment. All right. You got the idea. Y'all are fantastic. All right. Classwork on the stream. This is just how big things appear. I'll show you that in another classroom. You can make it kind of minimal in size, or you can have it so it actually shows some pictures and other things. Show deleted items. I usually just keep this turned off. It just means that there's more stuff covering up that shouldn't have to be in the stream. You want to minimize things the best you can, because in classroom, unfortunately, things do get rather large, okay? Especially towards the end of the 9 weeks, there's a lot of stuff in it, okay? Guardian summaries, I keep that on, and we'll talk about that when we get to guardian summaries in just a moment. Then managing the meet link, I think Kelly will probably talk about that. Down here is grading. Now, since we don't have an automatic way for grades to go from Google Classroom straight into Infinite Campus. So I don't even change any of this because it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that, since students will be seeing their grades in Infinite Campus and not really relying on Google Classroom for their grades. I would be sure to tell them that the grade inside Infinite Campus is their grade, and the assignments that you created in Google Classroom will have to be transferred to Infinite Campus first for them to see how they're doing. Okay, so that was the cog wheel right there, and that's how you can get into some settings. All right, so we made an announcement. This is really easy to do. Y'all were able to comment. I can click on that, see everybody's comment. Renee commented, so did Laura. That's awesome. Yep, easy to do. All right, let's go over here to Classwork. All right, now Classwork, this is where you're going to spend the majority of your time and getting things done inside your classroom, okay? So I'm going to show you a few things that you can do. And it all starts right here with the blue Create button. So you click on this, and you have some choices. Assignment will probably be the most popular thing that you'll do. There's quiz assignments, there's questions, there's material, there's reuse a post, and then there's topics. We're going to take each one of these one at a time, okay? Now, I'm going to start with topic, okay? You're starting from the bottom up. I know, that's weird. So if we look at this, topic is really how we want to organize our classroom. So I think the best thing that we'll do here is I'm going to hop to another classroom, one that I've been working with. And by the way, you do that, you go over here to the 3 lines, which some people call the hamburger. And you can go to classes. And this will take you back to all those cards. And I'm going to go to this one right here, Mr. Brolls' 4th grade. And this is one that I use with Dixie Elementary. And I'm going to Classwork here. Now, this looks really busy, and it may be a little bit overwhelming, but I want to take it with you step by step so it's not, so much stuff that you're looking at. These things right here that you see with the big blue header, big blue font header, are topics. And what I've done in this scenario is I made whatever we're doing for that day underneath the topic. So let's say for Tuesday, I have what do you think will be your favorite subject, a question. Then I have a slide deck that they're going through, and I have some other things that they're doing. So they have math, science, 3rd grade quiz, all these other things. But I made the topics the day of the week, just so you can say, hey, you missed out on Tuesday, September 15th. Go back and do all those assignments. Now they're going to figure out what assignments they're missing because Google Classroom tells them that, but you can tell them also because you want to let them know. All right, so these are days of the week, and then the assignments are underneath. I also have a section where I have classroom materials. Now that makes sense because these are things that are stay static. So this is just a document that has my classroom rules. Okay, I can open it up, it's a PDF. Here I have classroom supplies, it's just a Google Doc. And then under here are completed assignments. So when you're finished with a day's worth of work, you can just move them down. So for example, let's say this is way past September. I can take this and drag it all the way down, put it at the bottom. It's moving kind of slow. It doesn't really like it when I do this, but we'll get there. So hold on. And I'm just sliding it underneath Monday. Now notice it's at the bottom here and it's underneath completed assignments. Then whatever's most recent stays here at the top. Okay. Now I made a few other topics that weren't days of the week. I have my Bitmoji Classroom. Maybe you're one of those people that love the Bitmoji Classroom and you have links for kids to go to inside it. You can have that there. I have my Zoom links inside here so that they go to one-stop shop. Maybe I'm not using Google Meet and I like to have my Zoom. So then they can click on that. Now, if you have a helper, maybe there's a co-teacher that you use, or maybe it's an intervention teacher and they need that link as well, maybe to math. So you can put that Zoom link here. So it opens it up. All this is underneath Classwork. It opens it up for what the kids will see. And then this is just helpful documents. So you kind of see how that is laid out. So let's go back to where we were in the beginning. So let's go back to our class that we're building. And let's start. So I'm going to create, I'm going to go to topic, and I'm going to make a topic for today. So today is Monday. It is such a Monday, so rainy and terrible outside. October 25th. Okay, and now I can start building what I want to build here. I'm also going to go here to create a topic. I'm going to choose classroom materials. Syllabus. I know middle school or elementary doesn't have a syllabus usually, but other grade levels do. Okay, so let's fill this up. So let's go ahead and get our classroom materials here. So I'm going to go to create, and it's not an assignment or a quiz, it's just material. So it's really just documentation. That's a better word, I think, than material. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to be, so here's what I'm doing. I'm going to give it a title. So we'll call it classroom materials. And I don't need a description here, but what I do want to do is link my document to it. Now, my document is inside Google Drive. I also have the option to upload a file, link, do a YouTube video, or attach a new item, okay? But mine's in Google Drive, so I'm gonna click on Google Drive here. And I'm gonna do a search for classroom. I think I may have called it classroom supplies. All right, we'll do a little search there, and there we are. It came up, so I just click on it, and it says selected, so I click on insert. All right, and it found it. So now, this over here is very special. What it allows you to do is, instead of just posting it to one of your classrooms, you can choose multiple classrooms to post this to. In this case, I just want to post it to the one that I'm in, which is Mr. Broyles' 4th grade. Okay, so I have that checked. I can check others if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. This one allows you to post it to all students or different students inside the classroom. We'll talk about that in a little bit later, okay? So now I'm going to choose the topic that this is in. It's in classroom materials and syllabus. And then I'm going to hit on post. All right, so that has shown up there. It's going to show up for the students in the same place, okay? Now, if I want to drag this down a little bit, I can. And now let's make an assignment for Monday. Okay, so that's how you create a place to put classroom materials and syllabus or whatever is static. Maybe it's a newsletter that you've done for the month. You could put that in its own newsletter topic if you want to do that to organize it. So let's go back to create and let's go to assignment. Now let's make an assignment here. And there's a couple different ways here that we can do that. So I just want to call this, let's see. My rainy day. All right, and the instructions are follow the instructions inside the document. So now, so I'm thinking that I'm going to have the kids write about their rainy day that they experienced today. Okay, so you can go ahead and make a document ahead of time and find that in your Google Drive. Okay, that's easy to do, just like I did before, because I had that classroom materials one. You can upload it. You can do a link. You can add a YouTube video. We'll show you how to do that in just a moment as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm just saying, you know, I don't even have a document made for this one. So I'm going to click on the plus here, and I'm going to create a new document right now. So I'm going to click on Doc. I could do a slide, sheet, drawing, or form if I want to as well. So it's creating a document for me. And if you've already attended one of our sessions about Google Docs, and you know what I'm doing here, I'm just creating a Google Doc and call it My Rainy Day. And remember, I said the instructions would be inside the document. So I'll say instructions. Tell me about your rainy day and what you did. Okay, just a random thing. Okay, now as soon as I'm done, I'm just going to keep it like that. This is their document that they'll see. I'm going to click on the close there because I don't need it open anymore. And now it's going to update this in just a minute. It says untitled document, but it'll update. Here's where you can change it so that every student in your classroom gets a copy. Right now it says students can view the file, which means that there's one file and everybody in my class is looking at the same file, just one file. If I go to the drop down here, you can make that one file to be editable by all students, which is utter chaos, which has its good parts to it, because you may want more than one student in the file at one time, but not in this case. But what I want to do is make a copy for each student. That way, everybody gets a copy with their name on it. So I'm going to say make a copy for each student. Okay, I'm going to assign it here. I'm going to say, now, if I wanted to change this assignment so that I can differentiate it for my gifted students, my special ed students, or my intervention students, whoever it may be, I may select to choose to send this to just certain people. So that way you can differentiate inside Google Classroom. Then I would create another assignment and come back and give Callie that assignment and Jason and Kelly that assignment. Now, if I did that, I'm creating two assignments, but only the people that receive that assignment will know that. So if I selected Callie and Jason and Kelly for another assignment, and then kept these selections right here the same, everybody in my class would just see one assignment coming to them. So that is how you can differentiate. In this case, I want to send it to all my students, so I'll just select all students. I'm going to change the point value to 10, and I'm going to give them a due date. I'm going to click right here, and we'll say it's due by Friday. Okay. Now, you don't have to give them a due date if you're not that kind of teacher, but if you want to, then it's right here. Topic, I'm going to say that's Monday. Remember, they're down here. If I didn't have, maybe I'm working ahead and maybe it's Tuesday's assignment, I could click create another topic here and have the ability to do that right inside this. So I'm going to click on Monday. Now, rubric, we're not going to talk about that, but that's in one of those big O videos I showed you earlier today. Now, over here, where you have a sign, you can drop down and you can say, I can schedule this into the future. So maybe you're working on the weekend. I know that's a teacher thing. We hate that. but maybe you're working on the weekend and you want to schedule it for maybe to pop up during the week. Or maybe you're just not ready to assign it, but you've already typed it out and linked the document and all that. You can save it as a draft. Okay. Now, I also want to show you this before I assign it. You can add multiple things to your assignment here. It just doesn't have to be one file. So I can go right here. I can find a YouTube video, and maybe it's on rainy days. Who knows? I'm sure I'll find something. Well, right, I wanted that one, West Side Boogie. That's what I was looking for. No, it's really not. So maybe I'll hit Mary J. Blige right here, and they can watch a video. I'm pretty sure that I want to watch this video before I assign it. So that's definitely something you want to do always. And I'll just click add video here just for the heck of it. Okay. So you can keep on adding things to this. The more you add, the more it's likely that they'll forget to do one of those parts. But as your students get used to Google Classroom, then they will probably be a little bit better at doing that. Okay. Now, when I'm done, I'm going to click assign. And hopefully all of this will turn out okay. All right, very good. There's my assignment, my rainy day, and so on. Okay. Now let's go back to create, and we'll talk about a few other things. We're going to talk about quiz assignment real quickly. We'll make sure Kelly has enough time here. I don't want to overrun my time. Giving you a quiz assignment is just like creating a real assignment and the other assignment that we just did. Whenever we click this, it automatically gives us a blank quiz to start working on. So this is a Google form that's turned into a quiz. So you can give it a title and all that. I want to share a couple things with you here though. If you assign quizzes this way inside Google Classroom, you can turn locked mode on Chromebooks. And locked mode is kind of like a lockdown browser on the Chromebook where you don't want to do this remotely. You can't do this in person while you're at school. You know, you can do this tomorrow if you're ready for it. Locked mode will let you know if the students have opened up a new tab while they're taking your quiz. It will actually email you and say, oh, Janine Jones has opened up another tab. And then you as a teacher decide what you want to do with that information. Okay. But yes, so if they open up a new tab, it will tell you and it will email you. Now, also down here is grade importing. If you keep just one assignment in here, I'll show you what happens if you add another one. Grade importing will allow you to automatically bring these grades, the ones on the quiz, into your Google Classroom. Now that's a different video too, but just letting you know that's out there. Now I want to show you something. Let's say that I add a YouTube video to this. Maybe I want them to watch a YouTube video and then take a quiz. So let's see, I'll find a YouTube video. And I'll do math, fractions, and common denominator. And I'll add this one right here, add the video. Now, as soon as I did that, notice that grade importing is no longer available. It's grayed out. I can't click it, I can't slide it, I can't move it. And it tells you right here, Classroom can import grades for assignments. Grade importing automatically limits each form to one response per user and restricts responses to users in your domain. Okay, now, so it's not available anymore. So to make it available, make this just one thing, one quiz, that's it. Nothing else, no YouTube, no documents, no spreadsheets, nothing else. And as soon as I do that, now I have grade importing back. All right, I'll leave you with that thought. Let's go to the next one. Next is a question. And this is where you can put short answer questions and just something really simple. I love to do this. We can make one real quick. I'm going to make it multiple choice. And I'll say something like, what is that's ice cream flavor? And you're going to have limited options here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You don't have to give instructions here. You just make some options here. I'll take vanilla. Then I'll put coffee flavor. Put chocolate. And I'll put more option Rocky Road. Ugh. My parents love that stuff. I don't know why they do. Okay, and I can go ahead and ask this question. I'll make it 5 points. And the students can see the class summary. That's just after they've answered the question. And I can ask that. Now, you should be able to see that question show up, I think, right here in the classroom, in the classwork for you. So if you go to classwork and refresh, I think you'll see that and you can answer the question. Oh, we got one turned in, one vote for coffee. I'll take a little drink here. Let's see if anybody else gets to answer that. All right, we may have to come back for that one, but it's as easy that the kids will see the summary. You get to see it as well because I'm hosting it and showing it. All right, let's go back to classwork. All right, last thing that I'll show you is reuse a post. Now, this is really handy if you teach like a 9-week course and you repeat it the next 9 weeks, or if you're doing the same material, you want to use a post from last year, you used Google Classroom last year, and you want to reuse that post. You can click on reuse a post, and you can find another classroom. I can find this one right here. And let's say that I want to use this right here, this Science 4-season sorter. I just click on it and I say reuse. And now it opens it up so I can edit it. It has the slide deck already attached. Make a copy for each student. And we'll post it as my topic here. All this is already for me already. I can click assign. And now when I go back to classwork, I have another assignment underneath Tuesday. Oh, I don't want Tuesday. Let me change that. Hold on. I do not want that. I'll show you how to do this. I did that on purpose because I want to show you if you make a mistake, you go right here to edit and change that. So I'm going to go over here to topic and I want Monday. There you go. All right, I really didn't do that on purpose. Okay. All right, so that is what you do for classwork. I think I've gone through there pretty quickly, but remember, we're just giving, just a taste of what you can do in Google Classroom to get you ready for Google certification. Okay, let's go to our last tab that we'll talk about today. It's people. So right here I have, this is the teachers inside this classroom. If I want to add another teacher, I can click right here to invite teachers. And I'll type in Jason here. I'm going to invite him. And so I click invite. And then right now it says that Jason has been invited. He will have to go to the Google Classroom and accept that invitation. But that's where that shows up. You can invite as many teachers as you want, co-teachers, whatever you're working with. There is a limit of 20. I don't see too many people going over that, but I know some schools have ran into that problem because they've had like one grade level thing and there's counselors and principals and all kinds of different people in there, but 20 is your limit. Now this is turned colors. Now Jason has accepted. It no longer says invited. Thank you, Jason, for doing that. That's awesome. All right, let's talk about your students down here. Now, right here, if you select a student, and we'll pick on Kelly since she knows I pick on her all the time, you have some actions that you can take, and you'll have to do these at some point. Especially if you have, students that are transient, a transient population, they move in and out of your school or whatever. So if you have to remove a student because they're no longer in your Google Classroom, you're just going to check their name. You'll go to actions and you'll click on remove. It's easy to do. I don't want to do that right now, but that's what you would do. You can also click on email. Now, because we don't have Gmail in our district, if you click on email, like I'm doing right here, it's going to open up and say something like, we're sorry, you don't have access to Gmail. So that's not going to work inside our environment, okay? If we were in a Google Gmail district, that would work. Now let's look at the other feature that I didn't choose, and we'll click on Kelly again. And remember back in the stream where we're like, students can post and comment? Well, let's say that Kelly had a bad day. She made a really poor choice. She said something inappropriate in my stream. And I'm like, you know what? I really need to take action here. and we're going to mute Kelly. And what that means is she can't comment on other students' work, and she can't comment or post inside the stream. And that's okay. We want to be safe. We want to do the right thing. And Kelly will, eventually learn her lesson. We'll give her another chance later on. So we're going to click on mute. And now we have this little speaker with a line through it that lets me know, reminds me that Kelly is muted. Now, a week or so later, after a long talk, we click on her name again. We go back here and we click unmute. So now she has the ability to post and comment. Also, let's do one more thing here. I love the invite guardians feature. I'll tell you what that is. Let's say that I want to invite Callie's mother or father to know what she's doing inside my classroom. So I can click on invite guardians here, and I can copy and paste from Infinite Campus Callie's parent's name or email or whoever it may be, her guardian, and just paste it right there. And then I'll get the option to invite them, okay? And what will happen is this. Let me go back here a little bit. You'll see an example. I'm going to show you what that example looks like. However they decide to set it up, whether it be, I think, every couple of days or weekly, they will get an email that shows them what's going on inside Google Classroom. This is not an automatic feature. You have to set it up. And it will look like this. So it has a weekly summary for Callie, and here it is, their history assignment, American literature, marine biology, or whatever. Now, here's the thing. If you're in a middle school and you teach science and you sign up Callie for Guardian emails right there inside science, if the other teachers have Guardian email summaries turned on and they're using Google Classroom, then they will see, the parents will see everything that's going on in those classrooms too, not just yours. That's how it works. So if you don't want teachers or parents to see what's going on in the classroom, which I'm not really sure why you choose that, you can turn it off. But just let it be known, if you haven't added them, some other teacher may have added their parents as a guardian, okay? So that's what that looks like. So let's go back here, go back to people. There's a few other options here. You can, the same options that we had before, just looking at the 3 dots is the same thing. All right, the last thing, and then I'll turn it over to Kelly here, is grades. Grades will show up with the assignments and you have to go through and grade them. That is another feature that we would, in our videos that we have that are more than just an hour. If you want to know what video to watch, just email me, I'll tell you, or I'll even walk you through it. We can Zoom together during your planning if you want. All right, so that is in a nutshell what Google Classroom is. So Kelly, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll do questions of both Google Classroom and Meet towards the end, if that's okay with you all.
Yes, thanks, Jerry. Can you hear me okay? Okay, so just as a quick brain break, we're going to play a 30-second game. So if you want to play and have a chance at some chocolate, which I'll send through the courier, you can play. To play, it's really easy. You got to turn your camera on. It's the only caveat. You have to turn your camera on to play. Okay, great. And so the first task, there's going to be 2 tasks. The first is you can't get out of your seat to do this. Can you grab something and hold it in front of your camera that starts with the letter P? Something that starts with the letter P without getting out of your chair. Oh, a pen, paper, pencil. Yeah, can you reach the paper? Pen, got it, awesome. Okay, the second one, you have to get out of your chair and find something that was not made in the USA. Ready, go. Find something, you have to stand up out of your chair and find something that was not made in the USA. Ooh, I like that folder, Renee. That's pretty. Yeah, anybody else have something that was not made in the USA? Ooh, a rocket book. That's really fun. What is that, Miss Jones? That's really cute. Oh, it's a, is that a mask? An eye mask? I like it. I like it. Oh, great. Thank you all for playing along. Oh, a tennis shoe. I like it. Okay, these are great. Jason, did you find it? Nothing. I'll bring you something tomorrow. I'll give you chocolate anyway. So thanks for playing. I'll be sending everybody chocolate. Just a quick little brain break there to get us moving. I know you've been sitting for a long time. So if you will find your chat box for me, and I would love for you to put a number in the chat box for me, and that is your comfort level with using Google Meet. And I would like to know, let's see, 5 would be, I am an expert. I have used Meet with my students. And 1 would be, I don't even know what it is, or 0 would be, I don't even know what it is. 3 would be, I kind of used it a little bit, not really sure. And please give me honest answers, because that will guide our learning. Great. Okay, we are all over the board, and that's fine. So we're going to take a look at Google Meet today, and there are a couple of different ways we can get there. I'm going to quickly show you just Meet in general, even though we don't use it usually in this manner. To get to Meet, you could go follow Google's formula and go to meet.google.com, or you could come to the waffle, and it's located here as well. And now we're on Google Meet, and Google Meet is very similar to Zoom, which we do have a paid subscription for in Fayette County, and is more secure for us. But Meet is Google's version of that. So feel free to try this out with your students as well. When you come to Google Meet, you have the option to start a new meeting. And notice that I have different options. I can create a meeting that I'm going to start at a later time. And when I do that, I get a link that I can copy and share with my participants. So maybe I want to send this out an email or put it in Google Classroom, although this is not how we recommend that you use this with students, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So I can start this later on. I can also start an instant meeting right now. And by doing that, it will also let me generate a nickname that I could use. I'm going to back out. Remember, I'm just showing you Meet in general right now, but we're going to spend the majority of our time inside Classroom using Meet today. The third option is that you can schedule this inside of Google Calendar. So if you use Google Calendar, you can go ahead and schedule your Meet, and it will populate it on the calendar for you. You can set the date and the time. You can invite your guests from here. And we'll be talking about this more later on as we get to Google Calendar. But you'll notice that the Meet link appears in the calendar invitation. Okay, so that was just a really quick, brief overview of how to find Google Meet. The way we recommend that you use Google Meet is inside of Google Classroom. And so I've just jumped in my classroom that I'm a teacher of. And Jerry pointed this out earlier. On the left-hand side, you'll notice here is my Meet link. I love how Google has incorporated this feature directly into Classroom. And we would like for you to use it this way with students because the security features are greater. You're going to have a much better experience. Everything is locked down more. You have more control when you use it inside of Classroom. And so as a teacher, I could go ahead and click join from here. And the good thing about this is if I would have went to Meet in my waffle and I started my Meet, students, anybody I share that link with could join. But if I use it within Classroom, it puts everybody into a waiting room and they cannot join before yourself or any other teachers that you've made a part of this classroom. So that's one reason I love it, because your students, like I said, it's just like locking the door to your classroom. No one can get in until you start it or until you unlock that door. Notice right now that this link is visible to students, and you do have the ability to turn that off. So let me just jump in as a student real quick and show you what that looks like. Move these pictures out of the way. Oops, sorry. working from home. I don't have all my screens. Okay, so I am in as a student right now, and this is what it looks like to them. And you'll notice I've jumped in as my daughter, and if I try to join, it's just going to put her into a waiting room, and she cannot see anything until I go ahead and start that as the teacher. Oops. So just to show you what it looks like. Okay, and it's going to say, and of course, when I'm using Zoom and Meet at the same time, it doesn't like it. And so, okay, so I'm in as my daughter. So if I come in, another thing I can do is make this where it is not visible to students. If I click on Manage, I can turn this on and off. So maybe I don't want that link to appear there. So you have the ability to turn this on and off. Okay. So as a teacher, I'm going to go ahead and click on Join. Sorry, my internet's being very slow here today. Come on. And it just crashed on me. Let me start it. Let me try that again. Sorry, I apologize. Things that always happen when you try to do something from home instead. Can you still hear me okay? I didn't lose you, did I, Jerry?
Yeah, we can still hear you all right.
Thanks, Jason.
And I love your desktop background, by the way.
Oh, what was it? Oh, Disney. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's our magical place, right? Okay, let me try this again. So if I click, this is, I usually do screenshots of this. Zoom doesn't like it when I try to play with me and Zoom at the exact same time. So I turn my microphone and my camera off before I start my Zoom. Hopefully that will help keep it happy. Okay, so as a teacher, I'm going to go ahead and click on Join Now. And so now you are seeing my Google Meet screen. And this looks the same as, it's very similar to Zoom. At the bottom, I can tell that, yes, I know my system load is heavy. I can turn my microphone on and off. Another great feature is that this has closed captioning built in. And I can even apply which language I would like it to show up in. And turn the microphone on for a second. And as I'm talking, the words begin to populate at the bottom of the screen. So this is great for your hard of hearing students, maybe, or students who have trouble paying attention. I know that I enjoy it when presenters turn the closed captioning on. So that's another great feature that you have. Another feature that students can do is they can raise their hand. And if I would not have closed my daughter's chat or closed her account down, you would see that when students have a question, they can click this little hand and this little notification will pop up that says Addison has raised their hand, and then I'm able to call on her. I love that feature because just like in a classroom, they don't have to interrupt you. You don't have to have them turning their microphones on, but they can raise their hand and I can answer them when I get to a natural stopping point. The next feature is I can share my screen, and notice the different options that you have. You can share your entire screen. You can share a window or a tab. I usually pick the window because it lets me navigate between any of my tabs that I have open. So I can share my screen with my students this way. Notice though, if you are going to be showing a video or something with audio, you will want to choose the last option because that is the only way that there is to share sound. And again, when I am on Zoom and Meet at the same time, it does not like that. So just keep that in mind. It's really easy to share your screen. Moving on along the bottom, I have my meeting details. So this just reminds me of the join code I have, or if I need to have someone dial in. So remember I told you that when you're using Meet in Classroom, then only students that are inside of that class can join automatically. They wait in the waiting room until you as the teacher begin the meet, and then they will automatically start to roll in. And that's with the free version that we have, that's what we get. However, if you needed to invite someone, maybe who's coming to speak to your class from the community, or you have an author or an expert, you can share this link with them, and it keeps them in the waiting room until you allow them to join. So just another safety feature that I love. The next one is the chat feature. And so just like in Zoom, how you're chatting, you can use this feature. I love this new upgrade because by default, it lets everyone see the messages, but you can turn that off as the teacher. And that way only the chat comes to you. So students can't see each other, but they can talk back and forth with the teacher. Our next feature, notice that you can record. So just like in Zoom, I can record this. It would automatically upload to my Google Drive and it would stay for 30 days. The next feature is a whiteboarding activity. And I'm not sure if you have used Jamboard or not, but we do have a training coming up with Jamboard. So when I hit start a new whiteboard, it would actually share this Jamboard out with students and automatically shares the link in the Meet chat, and we can collaborate together. And I wish we had more time because we could play with this together, but Jamboard is really fun. I have all the tools so we could actually collaborate together. So please join us for our Jamboard session that's coming up, and we will go into more detail about that. And the last feature, our last feature are our settings, our security controls. And this is where you have the options to allow students to share their screens or not. And you also have the quick access. And this is really important because it's just like closing the door. When this is turned off, that means anyone who isn't invited, they have to ask permission to join. And that's why a moment ago when I tried to jump in as my daughter Addison, it did populate, it did let her in the room. It's because I had this turned on. So you want to make sure to keep this turned off. And when I'm finished, I'm going to leave the call. And instead of saying just leave the call, I'm going to end the call. And ending the call bumps everybody out. So it's going to close the room and nobody can stay in. Now, I know we do have a lot of high school teachers that use this, and they'll leave the call and they might leave students in to work independently together, maybe in a small group. Just remember those aren't monitored, so you want to use that very cautiously. So when I end the call, it would actually kick everyone out. Okay, we went through that very quickly, and I don't like to teach it that quickly, but these are just of our very basic features about using Google Meet. So like I said, if you're going to use it with students, especially our elementary students, please use this inside of Google Classroom. That way we have control over allowing everyone in or closing the room at the end of our call. So if I jump back to our slide deck, Jerry, did you share the link with everyone at the beginning?
Yes.
If not, okay, perfect. I can also pop that in the chat. So we have everything that we went over today is hyperlinked inside of this presentation. So if you need to remember how to come back and start this inside Classroom, for example, everything is linked. So I hope you will take advantage of this slide deck as we continue on this journey. And we do have a quick feedback form, and I will pop that in the chat as well. And at this time, I'm going to be quiet and ask if anybody has any questions. We would either Classroom or Meet. We would love to answer them.